All right, good evening, guys. Ken of Tortoise Capital, nightly strategy podcast for April 24th, 2023. Uh, there are two things from this weekend that are, I think, really important. One of them is the consolidated 3 hour live concert series from Kansas. The first hour was a really good Q&A session from the Foundations course. I mean, really good. And then the 2 hours of Creativity 202 that followed were also very good. The last 15 or 30 minutes or whatever of the My Work in Progress, I thought was exceptional. I thought it was some of the best I've done. And it's connected to the second thing that's noteworthy, and that is the announcement for the limited time only lifetime membership to the Owl Wisdom Group on Rizuku, which is a lifetime, one-time payment access to the material that we are assembling in conjunction with the AI support team, the Koala Writer and ChatGPT 4. It's proven to be pretty powerful. So Patreon has all the information on the different levels of lifetime support. After May 15th, that's a hard and fast time. It's going to be the same support levels, but those are going to be annual subscription rates for the unlimited access. Between now and May 15th, you get a chance one time for a lifetime access, and it's a really good deal. There's a payment plan available as you look at that and you want to work it out, and I'm flexible on that. But after May 15th, I will have done my duty, which is to make it available with a really good deal. It's a great value, I think, on the annual subscription, but the lifetime deal is ridiculously good. All right, let's go to the swing portfolio. So we're on 30 minutes. This is starting with Alcoa. And let me just give thanks to the guys in the Foundations and the Creativity 202 course who are willing to share their true story work in public with you guys. It is really a testimony to their character to do that. All right, so Alcoa. So last week we had this excellent 3-position win on the short side. Today we had like a COTA 2, and at the end of the day, I just had to hold my nose and take this. Because it's at the 10-day and 30-day low. And if it fails, I'm just going to be where I want to be, which is short. But if it does work, and if it only gets halfway up the stack, that is a 1, 2, 3R win. So that's like the no-brainerest of entries for me. I hate it, but I take it. AI, the software company, this was a nice micro win, then stop and reverse for a 2-day trade last week. I couldn't take it anymore. All I could see was that recovery on like a fake 1 go 2. And today it gapped down and started selling off, so I just held my nose, got short, and then as it started to recover, I just wanted to take it and get out of that position for +1. I just keep imagining Elon Musk buying a boatload of that. Talking myself right out of a good short overnight. So be it. This is Caterpillar, great industrial company. It held support at that level. It closed really well last week. Today it gapped up to here after a couple hours when it would not fail, and the spring turned to summer. I just held my nose and bought it, and because it's about a 3R to the 10 and 30-day high, and if we get any kind of traction in the market, that's going to do well. So Caterpillar long. Cliff in the metals, same thing. Held a nice, I'm sorry, that's Cat. Sorry, Cliff. This is much like Alcoa, and that was that horrible, terrible, painful, bad, not good sell-off to a 10-day and 30-day low, and it refused to fail any further. Gave a PSAR flip this morning. I couldn't believe it until it started to recover and bounced off a rising dragon, so held my nose, and it closed pretty well for about +1 in hand, and I'm willing to hold that one, I think, up to 17 is kind of the no-brainer move. That would be the least surprising move. If it only gets halfway up the stack, that's about a 3R win, so I love it. But that's a hard stop right here. That's a stop in reverse if it breaks below that, because that will have been a 2R adverse move. CVS, the pharmacy, this has been brutally down. PSAR flipped. I believed it on the second move up when the spring turned to summer. And right at the end of the day, I just couldn't take it anymore. And so I bought it just to relieve my anxiety. Standard work. Dish, just stalking it. I don't believe it on the upside. I'm ready to get short this instantly on that break. On the long side, I guess I just have to be ready for this. I suppose a PSAR flip, but this has been such a tight. Let me just see it break above the RL10. Then if that happens, you get a target, 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 and that's your price ladder to the upside. But I want to see it get above this. This is too tight for me. But the downside, instantly. Devon Energy, this was a really nice swing, and it was nice intraday we'll see on the sniper trade of the day. And this one was finding support right where it found support, and there's your symmetrical move down to support, and then an orderly PSAR flip, and that was believable with the standard risk. Just holding one, and I guess it came back to here. So we're holding +2. It came all the way back to here. I have some belief in that one. So otherwise, taking a 2R on that one would have been fine. Electronic Arts. This was a speculative one. I took this one on the long at the close of the day because it just refused to lose. So it held support, crossed the drag, and I bought it. There was a last-minute burst of buying on this thing, which gave us +1, which I didn't even realize until I was marking up the charts. But that is all. That's ready. That's breaking out of this previous peak. So any move up from here is kind of gravy, especially if it can get above the 10 and 30-day high. So let's see if that was an anomaly or a hint of things to come. I think it's a hint of things to come. This is emerging markets, EEM. So it has been grinding, and then a harsh sell-off to a 10-day low, which held. And then this is just hold my nose, and I'll be short that with much relief. But if it works, and if it gets above about 39 and some change, then it could close the gap to 39.30, and then this is starting to look like people would believe it, and then it could get to this little hump, and if they believe that, it could close that gap. So it would be harder to establish a price ladder to the upside based on less evidence of enthusiasm than that, which is kind of why I like it. It's had 2 days to fail further. It didn't. It just came out of the Red River in the spring, so why not? I'd rather be short. Ethereum was another hold my nose and buy it after brutal sell-off. Held all day at support. Was moving pretty well. Spring turned to summer right here. It refused to lose, so just buy it and hope for the best. Ready to cut it at 73. I'm sorry, CVS. That's CVS, my bad. I think we'd already seen that one. ETH. Hey, I remembered it was a brutality, yep. That's brutal. Held support, PSAR flip, at the 10-day low. That's just a channeling. And if it gets just to this, that's a heck of a move. That's 4 we'd take, and then it's 8 to here. So why not? If you're trading in directly in the crypto, any break below the equivalent of 8.75 is an instant short. But I like that it's come out of the Red River and in the spring, so let's see it go. Just to prove a point. Mexico, slow on this one, man. This was the channel. This was kind of the fake one. It's in a slow go-to, fake one go-to. I finally had to take it here on the recovery intraday and breaking above the dragon. Didn't like it, but it closed well. And if it breaks above the 30-day high, that could just end up being good. Brazil, no trade, stuck in a sideways quiet channel, but tomorrow this one promises to be a really tight range breakout. So from a zero state, that's not a swing trade for me, but that sure is a hybrid frog on a frog champion tomorrow. So yesterday I posted the list of frog champions for some of the guys were asking from the foundation. So that's on Patreon. You can download that there. But I like this one as an intraday breakout in either direction. And then if it breaks out of the yellow box in either direction, that's when it becomes a swing trade. But intraday in the yellow zone, swing trade once it breaks out. Intel was a one-day gift. Missed this sell-off in tech the whole way. Just missing it. Finally had to take it on the, like a slow, late collapsing dragon late in this morning. And then it didn't fail any further. And so I just don't believe in it on the short side. I'm thinking tech. So we'll take the 0.5 win, be ready. I'm ready for this, but I'm also ready for a continuation. I just didn't want to hold that one overnight. Afraid of the gap. IP, international paper. So this was kind of a slow Kata 2, if you will. It held here, and here's our Kata 2 action. And the nice sell-off, which we enjoyed with that short, gave us a PSAR flip. I waited until it moved a wrist box off the dragon and just couldn't wait any longer. Closed pretty well with like an intraday Kata 2. And if it breaks above today's high, that could really work. So I like it. We'll give it a try. Holding about 0.5. IYR just stalking it. It's been not really directional and little follow through. So I'm not sure what to do with that. So it'll do nothing. Oh, when I don't know what to do with it, I know exactly what to do with it. Nothing. This one was a cover on KRE, the regional banks, had a nice run up. Completely missed the short until we got the Kata 2 Friday, sorry. Then it hit the the PSAR flip on Friday. We decided to hold it for one more day. Started coming back up, so that's a no lose plus dinner for 2, a micro gain. It then immediately sold off. Didn't have the willpower to take it short. It was supposed to go south earlier, so I don't believe it. McDonald's, this is our double entry upon the breakout of this little cluster after the really nice run up. And it's quietly working and made a new 10 and 30-day high today. So get on with your bad self, McDonald's. Just keep going. Pay no attention to us. Merck was the other really strong relative strength winner. If we look back in time, this thing has been really strong for a while, the last 30 days. And so on this little sell-off that held support for a full day and gave us a PSAR flip last week, We locked into that nice entry, and it closed there on Friday. And today it's just continuing to go. And I really like that little close. And so this has quietly put us into about a plus 3R on little to no belief in it. But I will tell you, if it breaks out above the 30-day high, there will be other folks believing in it. So I like that one. And where I'd have my stop if I was you is like right there. So if it has a chance to make that run, if it fails, I'll just take +2 and be done. Marijuana, this was a 2-position short. This was a long that failed, so we got short. Tried another short last week, and today it gapped down and started cruising up, and I just got bit a little bit on that. And we locked in 3 on the first one, minus a fraction here. And then today, it was like a crazy person. It sold off then hard. I missed that. And then it broke out to the PSAR flip. Completely missed that one, and it closed really well. So that is about as psychotic as you could get. And so on the basis of psychosis, I think I could be ready to trade that with an entry there with a risk box of about like that, which is this risk box. So if it breaks out, I could take that as a flyer. And then if it gets above the 5-day high, then the 10-day high is in range. That shows there was a lot of buying pressure right at the last minute there. So maybe there's some news in dope land. I don't know. Clean energy was a slow roll today, held as like a COTA 2, and then spring turning to summer persuaded me, and the PSAR persuaded me, so we took that. It closed pretty well, about +1. It has to get above the hump of the dragon and the RL10, then that's going to look really good on a return to this price of about 38. So we'll see if that works. Rivian was another slow roller. This is one where the sell-off has been painful, and we got a little taste of the short. But for a day and a half, it failed to fail. Got a little PSAR flip, so we're going to give that a try. Tight risk. If that risk fails, we're short. Treasuries, just marking time. Tesla, I just can't leave it alone. There's your double bottom in the RL10. There's a PSAR. There's a tight risk box at 162. I just, if it can get above today's high and get above that gap, then it closes the gap to here at 180, and that's all I can see. I can see the short, but, it's had like a COTA 2 on the MACD. It's in the spring coming out of the Red River, so that's a reasonably strong signal. So I just hold my nose, ready to get burned once more. U.S. Steel, nice, like Cliff and AA, that was the sell-off. Today was a COTA 2, failure to fail kind of entry with the standard risk. Closed a fraction above our entry. I'm really looking for it to get above, say, 25.50 to close the gap to 25.75, which makes it a nice trade. If it can get to the middle of this congestion, it's 26 and some change. If it gets above the dragon and the RL10, that's another one of those climbing the wall of worry. But I take it as interesting that it failed to fail further. So that's the swing. And I want to draw your attention to what Trader X said. What he does with the first 30 minutes of this podcast is the following. He has my list of swing symbols, and he marks them up during the day as he's going through it. And he's comparing his actions to what I'm doing and listens to the narrative so that he can kind of get tuned to that thought process. And now he's training the coach's eye and training that in a live setting, essentially trading along with me during the day and then just comparing notes on the same symbol set. So you can download that symbol set from the, I put a flashcard on Patreon for you. If you have TC2000, just send me a note. I'll send you the portfolio list and that layout. You can just add it right into your TC2000. If you have the TC2000 bundle, you already have that full layout along with the other 20 plus layouts that we have that constitute standard work. Let's see. Next up, sniper trade of the day. We're looking at Devon. This is one where the sector energy and the symbol itself had both bottomed out near 10-day lows and showed some signs of reversals. Yesterday or Friday, this is where that Friday close happened, and it did a PSAR flip and go, and so that was showing some indications from last week. So Devon was on my short list. Here was the OR3 level. Here was the breakout from it. Here is the standard risk box. So that's just an intraday continuation trade on Devon in the usual way. Check or hold. The entry happens and it just works nicely, and we get about a 2-hour banger from the open and never kind of looked back. Notice this is where the RL10 crosses over the 30, hits the dragon. The summer turns to turns to fall. Excuse me. Everything hits the PSAR flip, and done. So that gives us about 2, and that was a short side trade if you want to get this. But to me, the turning point in Devon and energy was so clear that all I wanted was after this first move, I just had committed to Kata 2s for the rest of the day just to keep my life simple. But the short side trade was certainly there. But that's your Kata 2 standard entry. The winter quickly turns to spring and then to summer and gets us out at the PSAR flip for +1. So now we're holding, 2 on this one, 1 on that one, so we're +2 and +1. And it's getting ready, it looks like, for another Kata 2, which it does. This gives us about a half an hour. So now this is telling you something when you see that kind of sequence. When you see a big gain, a smaller gain, and then a smaller gain, you can feel like the buyers have left the room, But, we stay with it. Kata 2 because, and that gives about another half an hour, maybe a third of an hour. And now it's 3 p.m., so we're done for the day. That's the sort of the VWAP magnet as guys unwind their positions. So that was about 3.5 for the day, I guess. Yeah, that's about 3.5, maybe 4. Sniper trade of the day, Devon Energy. That was also in conjunction with the sniper in Devon, right? So when you look over at Devon the sniper looks like this. And on the 30-minute chart, a clear PSAR flip, and that first 30-minute move is going strong, so we just hold our nose and get that. And then that makes me interested in it. And it was moving so smoothly that the 3-minute charts became sort of an orderly move. And then that allows me to earn some money in the day trade to fund the overnight risk on the swing trade, which itself has a couple R on the swing portfolio. So that's that. Sniper trade of the day. Let's see. Where are we at here? The traders, taking a look at their stuff here. Here's Tim doing some really nice work today. Knock on wood, finding his stride. So this is Wheaton. There's the OR3 in a span of control, so he misses the OR3 move, which is about a 1 to 3 to the peak. And then if on that one, since that's an abnormally large win, all you do is you trail, you use the belly of the dragon after that little R10 baby dragon rollover. You just take that exit, you end up giving back 1, and you keep 2. And then his orderly PSAR flip as it crosses the VWAP comes through the dragon, hits the PSAR, it's on the correct side, and now you're thinking, yeah, it could just get back to here, and it does, and then it rolls over. So that makes a perfect exit at the edge of the dragon. He lets it come through to hit the PSAR. What I would tell you is, if it immediately doesn't get through the VWAP and starts to do this, get out of it here or here, and that'll save you most of that beaten. Then I like the stop and reverse because you have a kata too. I love the quicker exit, and then just wait for it to relax a little bit, and then he gets paid. So I feel like that one was the one we got to learn on. We got to learn to trust that one. I love that trade. I love the quick exit. And then we might have been quicker in here because you have a kata 2, but that's a micro gain. But that would have turned the day positive even with that minus 0.9. So a lot of good work in there on the timing and the feel. Cliff, this is at OR3 again. There's your OR3 entry. That would make this a second position perhaps, or you just take the orderly exit here off the first entry, and that's the difference between a minus 0.6 and a plus 0.6. I love the immediate re-entry, and that's a pretty good exit. That's a great short and gets paid. Stays out of the chop. Beautiful use of the Bollinger Bands to find the chop. And now here's the Z2 breakout and gets paid for 0.1. So he's net even for the day so far. And then crushes Devon for 2.9. There's the OR3 that he gets. Beautiful exit. Lovely short. Beautiful stop and reverse. Waits for it to get short, the stop and reverse, 2.7 for the day. Smooth. Well done. Hamad's getting some stick time, we might say, getting some reps in. All right, let me get this going. So this is Arc Genomics. On the 30s. It peaks here. He lets it come through the dragon. He waits for the PSAR flip. Gets short. Covers for a gain. I like it. This is the Qs. There's our measured low. Comes through the dragon. It's like a... This is an SSC because that's a harsh sell-off. I like it. It doesn't follow through, so I like this. I like this recovery as it comes back through the dragon and closes. I think you can get that or you can get that. And then when this rolls over at the edge of the river and doesn't get any higher, you get out on that signal. Failure to follow through is information. So either one of those gives you a nice move. And that's actually a legit Kata 2 reentry, especially on the 10s. And that's supported by this breakout from the Red River on MACD. Later on in the Qs, he has a perfect collapsing dragon here, and really off of that one. And there's his wrist box. Perfect. I might have taken this one on that second leg down, or that one on the second leg down. But I like that, and I love the exit. I like this right here as a Kata 2. and maybe there's your PSAR break and it's crossing the Bollinger Band mean, and the river has gone flat, and you've got that kind of surge. But with the tightening Z2s or Z3s, I don't mind that. But I think on that kind of grind, that you can take the Z1 or the Z2 breakout, which would be right around in here, and you could get this. And then on the COTA 2 higher, I like that breakout as a COTA 2. Plenty of goodies in there to study. Microsoft, let's see what we got here. This is going to be the story of they all look the same leaving the station. So I think what I need to have you do is just tighten up on that imagery so we can see the very clear shorts. And I take that to be your risk box. And then that's your exit for a half an hour loss. It rolls over again, so he gets it here. I think you could get that at a scratch, but that's still a pretty good exit. But then look at, they all look the same leaving the river. So that's a standard PSAR short, COTA 2 short. There's your risk box, and bang, that's the one that works. They always look the same leaving the station, and that's a 1, 2, 3 maximum excursion. And even if you take it at the edge of the river at the PSAR flip, you're going to do +2, and that one pays for all of this. Now here's your COTA 2. I like the Z3 breakout. I like the quick exit. I think you got that one, and you got paid. This one, I don't know. That is a persuasive upward move. I might wait for it to get through and break out of the river. I don't like necessarily that short, but it's you got a quick exit, so I could live with that. But this is the lesson for today. All look the same leaving the river, or leaving the station, I should say. Diamonds. This is a COTA 2. So you can see why we like the SSC. So the COTA 2, I think you can take that on DIA as soon as it leaves the river. As soon as you get the RLXD and you see winter turning to spring, I like the heck out of that. I can live with this one. I would, as soon as you saw that peak and then started selling up, that's a great exit, and you got paid on it. It's not the size of the position sizing dots. The fact that it's such a small win only means that you're trading with a very small size in order to learn the patterns. When you add up all the wins and losses in the histogram, that's where you're going to see what the relative win to the relative losses are, and that'll give you your system quality number. Don't even worry about this at the early stages of developing skills. That just means respect for risk management. Inside, some more on the DIA on the 10s. That's I think, if I'm seeing that correctly, draw that in as a bright red dot so we can see what's going on here. And then that gives you the exit here. After that little gift and then reverses, that's a great exit at the edge of the dragon, so you get paid on this much, which is nice. That's 3 times the size of the other winner. And then notice how the MACD signals are giving you really good insights. Could work on that. Now, what I need on this one, this is this Greg? I'm trying to remember who did this one. Brian. Here's what I need you to do for your own precision. The only problem I have on this in terms of easy coaching is you've given me an entry right here of a big green dot. So I don't know if it's this bar or that bar or this bar. And when I see green, I see going long. So that's either covering from a short or getting long right there. What you're showing that is, as I realized later, was that's actually a entry short. So that should be a red dot right here. so that we can see that as the, um, that's your trade frame right there, right? And then that makes it very clear that the entry was an entry short and the intention is to go here, looking for a return to like Z2 in the belly of the, and then if that breaks, you'd want to have a second position. So this thing goes down and then starts coming back, and you probably took that as the signal and then got the fill right here. So that should be a green dot to show that the exit was here, and then the trade is a minus 0.76. So what I want to say is, look, if you get this move and it does not break down to get to here and starts to reversing, I do not like to let a 0.6, that's about 0.6, right? I don't like a positive 0.6 to become a negative 0.7. That's an inverse move of minus 1.3. So even if we scratch that, I'd be happier. Then this is a stop and reverse. So that's even a little bit late compared to the PSAR flip, which is justified because that's a full COTA 2. So in essence, in a rising market where you got short against the trend, you waited for the full COTA 2 signal to go long to be out of that. Whereas I don't think you need that much certainty. I think you could trim half of that loss, and then your COTA 2 entry would be a little better. Now that may have gotten you out here at a scratch or a micro loss, which is fine. And then on the reversal, I'd like you to be long either here or here or here, somewhere in that price level. This feels a little late, but it's still legit. And then after this gain and a rollover, to let that go, even though it's a small loss, to be that far, that's almost +1, and you're at Z3. So on the second fail, take that one at the edge of the dragon, and then that becomes a positive win. Psychologically, you'll get that win by exiting here instead of that micro scratch. Then if you do that, I think I don't mind that as the exit short. Let's make that a red dot so we can see that. And then again, this thing runs down. That two bottoming tails coming up, that is a perfect exit. Let's make that one as a green dot because you're showing that our trade was this frame. So there's your risk box, there's your red short, and then there's your exit, and then that becomes clearer. I love this short. This was a quick exit. I like the exit here, so draw that a little tighter. That should be red, and then that should be green. That should be red, and then that one pays off, and that is beautiful exit. So, good work. We'll just tighten up the smaller dots. So if I was going to show that on what I would recommend seeing is something like this, where now I can really see, and you can see, it really jumps out at you. There was my short, but there was my exit. There was my stop and reverse, quick exit, got long again. There's my exit. Now you can see how much we give back. And then we got this one, we got this one, we got that one. And it's just easier on your eyes to see the bright flashing lights, and you'll see, you will appreciate over time as your eyes get older. That'll be helpful. Satya, welcome back from India, and I would just say help an old man, make that green so I can see that a little easier. And the only reason I say that as a standard practice, I like using blue as like that's a signal. It draws my attention to it. If I make them yellow, it normally means I was considering a decision, but I didn't. For me, the blue is, take a look at this. Yellow was, I thought about it, but didn't. So if you make that a green dot, then it's clear to me That oh yeah, that's my entry, and that is just as nice an exit at the dragon as you could ask for. Notice how clear and clean that particular layout. He's gone to sort of a minimalist approach on his indicators. That makes a beautiful 1, 2, 3 PSAR Kata 2 entry, all of that, and a nice PSAR exit. And then after the grind, he sees that. Well, why not? So he's green and long and gets paid for 3R. That's just really well done. So nice work from the guys across the board. We will finish up with the report as soon as I can find her. There we go. So that was our sniper trade of the day. Let's see, that's the 150. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong day. Wrong date, my bad. Stand by, let me get the right symbol up, or the right daily report. Yeah, so this is the 150, and this is an example of me using that blue color to just draw some attentions to things I want to look at. So each of these blue circles represents something like a turning point that's indicated by, the bottoming of the RL10, but really that dragon, which is really smooth and rolling over, that's actually like an owl entry. So that big blue O is like an owl. There's your Kata 2 PSAR flip. Here's where the here's where the dragon turned, and that's where the RL30 went from down to up. So that's actually an owl entry right here and gives you that. And then that gentle rollover, and there's the dragon rolling over, and there's the RL30 rolling over. That's your owl entry right there, which gives you this. I want you to notice that on this little recovery, the dragon never rolled up and the RL30 was still down. So those of you playing along with the owl will recognize that it waits just a little bit for confirmation, doesn't get shaken out here, and the owl doesn't occur until it's down here in that blue circle. So now as we zoom in on this little rascal, we can see, look, I've got the RL10 has rolled over. The RL30, though, is still pointing straight up as if it's going to break through this. And the dragon just got flat. So we are about 3/4 of the way to the owl. It would take probably 2 days past a PSAR flip to make that RL30 roll over, which would give us an owl somewhere around in here, maybe 2 days away. So knowing that, I can now start telling myself, look, it's stalling a little bit. The owl is getting ready to start happening pretty soon, but I still got a couple days to work. But to be on the safe side, maybe I just pick, I pick here. Or maybe I pick today's low or something. But this little turning, if that were to be a turning point, I'm not allowed to be surprised by that, because look where if I connect the dots, that's the channel. So a rollover from here back to here, around 400, would be the least surprising behavior of all, which is what we said this weekend on the market condition, right? So if this fails, a move to 400 is the least surprising move. There's the middle of your regression channel, and this is the natural test. Now, if it breaks above 420, that's what we said this weekend. If it breaks above 420, then we have every reason to believe this thing is heading for glory. So 420 is the key, and I want to just highlight that. And just as a technique to show you, that's what I mean by those blue circles. It's something. Now notice how, again, that MACD has come through the zero line, so it's in the summer, and now just entering fall, close to the zero line. So a move down is not surprising. But if it goes summer, fall, summer, that means it would have gotten above 420, and then you can buy that one without regret. I mean, it might not work, but you could buy it without regret because you did the right thing. All right. Back to the report. Where? Okay, dashboard number 1. Bullish quiet, that's good. Still pretty strong with all the NDXs. This was a pretty good day after all. Risk Z is still giving us risk on, and that little pullback gives it room to run up. Emerging markets has given us that long side signal, which is why I tried that one. Come on. Dow 30 tactical. Plenty of auto framers. Notice that some of the techs that are giving you really a good reward to risk. There's Cisco with 7-1. Intel at 3.5 to 1. Microsoft, there's no reward to risk, but it was a percent loser today. Tesla 3.6 to 1 for that swing I tried today. Strength in McDonald's. Go on with your bad self. And then Walmart and ExxonMobil both with some strength. That one, just go. Go. Quiet strength in Goldman. No signals, but just the fact that it's going, in a sense, is a quiet signal. ETFs, the only breakout was a long breakout from a long-term box in EFA. Handful of auto framers. Energy on the rise. Oil on the rise. Marijuana's turnaround today. Could be nice. That was that crazy paranoid schizophrenic induced by smoking that dope in marijuana ETF. Reefer madness for men of a certain age. Auto framer. Lots to choose from with some really exceptional, better than 3-to-1s in this whole stack. There's your Cisco, Tesla, Intel. That's telling you that it's tech. Some of those tech leaders of yesteryear are ready to break and go. Lots of daily squeezes today, including the indexes for diamonds, Europe, treasuries, the Russell. Lots of goodness in there. Range compression leads to breakouts when they go. In the sniper, got 3 in the S&P. These guys are all quiet, stealthy Godzillas. VXX is a quiet Godzilla. We're always about 1 day away from him getting ready to rage. I like looking for the double greens in here, so CARR. Now, what makes this one interesting is the fact that it's a 7 sigma move today, but it's long term. It's right in the middle of its trading range. But the 30-day and 10-day have been both beat down really, really hard, and today was an extraordinary move. What does a 7 sigma move look like, you say? Well, stand by. Shift quickly in TC2000 to the S&P. That was it probably got murdered today, so what is it? Was it CRR? CARR. Carrier Global. Yep. That's what a 7 sigma move looks like. Probably some kind of earnings shenanigans. Wow, what a move that is. From 45 and a half to 47 down to 41. That's some psychotic behavior for you. And if we go out to the daily, yeah, that brought it all the way down to, uh, the very middle of his 150-day range. But you can see it got smashed on the 10-day range, which is this blue box, and then the 1-day range. And the 30-day range. Everything is smashed down to here. So to me, if that breaks below 42, auto short. If it starts recovering, then there's something good going on. Tight risk box. I'm ready to go as an opportunity trade in any direction. But it's had a pretty good year up until today. Yikes! That's what a 7 sigma move looks like. It moved as much today as it has in the last 30 days. A 1-day move was accounting for 100% of the 30-day range. Like until today, if you discount that move, you didn't mind owning that one on the way up, and then it just did that. So, real good chance of more of that happening tomorrow. Has to be a news event. So we'll see. AT&T is a double. We got in the S&P the most volatiles. Yeah, those two stand out. In the auto framer for TC2000. So I have this one sorted by percent change today so we can see the winners. Here's the S&P, as always, right in the middle at about basically flat. But it was better than those indexes, the Russell, Tech, and Emerging Markets. Diamonds were a little better. Treasuries were okay as a defensive play. Cliff was a smash. Devon Energy was great, and that's where that swing is coming from to the upside. You see strength in ExxonMobil and Devon and U.S. Oil. That's telling you. Alcoa. So a real mind split here in the metals. You got to love Cliff, not care so much about U.S. Steel. Alcoa got smacked. So those are individual company moves, not a sector move. But if you look at the semis, they're all giving up the ghost here. NVIDIA, Texas Instruments, Intel, Tesla and TechSide just getting smashed. Looking for energy for the follow through tomorrow. Look at the tactical ones. Almost everything we had was really, really quiet. Agriculture's still working. Even Devon Energy's move was a double quiet. A mix now between summer and fall. So these would be the ones that are still in their strength. There's JP Morgan, Caterpillar, Goldman, U.S. Steel, Merck. In the ETFs, a very clear distinction between fall and summer. Look at the globals working with EFA, Europe, Latin America. The Russell still has some hope, but otherwise being dominated by the fall, starting to run out of patience. A tale of two markets, the haves. Energy, Walmart, Goldman, McDonald's, and then the have-nots, Intel, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Microsoft. In the ETFs, blockchain, along with the weakness in the cryptos. EFA and IEV continuing to power north. So that's the tail of these, the tail of this market. Finally, the frog trading ratio, guys. Looking at multiplying the frog quality number by the average range percentage of the last 30 days to give you the trading value ratio, and then ranking it from largest to smallest. That gives you the best trading vehicles: Tesla, marijuana, clean energy, Nvidia, Instruments, Intel, Devon, Boeing, ExxonMobil. So that's out of our tactical. This comes out of our tactical symbol set, which has about 60 symbols in it. So this gives you like the top 20, and there you are. Okay, that's everything we got for today. We will get this published and posted. Consider the. I'm going to keep running that special. Those links for the Owl Group Wisdom Project. I think it's a good deal. But I trust your judgment. And we shall see you tomorrow. Thanks to the guys from this weekend for that live concert session. Was just really something special. I'm just really humbled by the work you guys are doing. Take good care. We'll see you tomorrow.